Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is the 30th of May today, I believe. 30th of May, 11 a.m. Central European Time. I'm in the studio or the office. Today, I have a meeting at 12:15, 12:20. So I thought I'd come in and do it from the office. It's a lot easier to do it from here. And we have a lot to get through. There is a poll question that I have asked today. I've said for 2 years that 111.5, 112,000 is the all-time high. The poll question of the day is, am I right or am I clearly barking mad and we're going to $400,000? That's the poll question of the day. Now, so far, not many people have voted, but it's 50-50. What I'm going to do, because I don't think I've ever done this before, I haven't done it for about 18 months. I'm going to show you the calculation that I based it on, that I did literally in the bear market. So what would that have been? June 2023, I think I did the prediction. And I said weeks ago, we need to break 112, 114,000 for me to be happy. And we didn't. So we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about Chairman Powell. If you like the little graphics on the front page, the two little people scrapping, that is Powell and Trump, by the way. Powell and Trump had a scrap. Powell went to the White House to meet with Donald Trump to talk about interest rates. Some idiots on crypto Twitter are telling you that rate cuts are coming tomorrow, and they are not. That's another thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Ethereum. We're going to talk about Litecoin. We're going to talk about Quant. We're going to talk about, what was the thing we're going to talk about? Give me 1 second. There was a few other things. Oh, Circle. And we're going to talk about another treasury raise. Lots to talk about. Before we begin, however, KB, good morning. Bullish Bull, good morning. Danny, good morning. Hidden Agendas, good morning. Country Couple, welcome to the stream. I hope you are all doing well. And if I've missed you, I apologize. Say hello in chat if we haven't said your name. And Manjeet and Charles. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, Manjeet. I hope you're all doing incredibly well. I suppose we should get on with the show because that is what we are here to do. So let me very quickly bring up the charts. Ta-da! Look at that magic. Magic. We didn't stream Wednesday or Thursday, but we did stream Wednesday night and we had an absolute ball on the quiz night. And we said that we would do another quiz, just a quiz night. And we're going to do that. We have designed the UI. Well, I've designed the UI today. We're going to do a quiz night. And the quiz night is going to be probably next Wednesday, but we'll decide closer to the date. My camera always makes it look like I'm slanted. So we're going to do a quiz night. You will also notice that there is a QR code in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. That takes you to our YouTube channel. Nothing else. It's not a sign up for, cosmetics. It's not a sign up for men's underpants or anything like that. That is just our YouTube channel. And the reason we've got the QR code now is when we do the quiz night next week, the only way to play the quiz night is through YouTube because it's a YouTube interactive quiz. You type the answer in chat, you get it right, you get it wrong. I haven't sent the prizes out from Wednesday. I do apologize. I've been running around making videos, but I haven't forgotten. Danny has won. Another 3 people have won. You are all going to get your prizes. I am slow. I'm like a diesel engine, but I do eventually get there. Now then, let's get on with the show. Bitcoin then, 105.3. Down a 3 whole percent. Ethereum though, $2,600. I'm not complaining about that. XRP $2.20. BNB back. Was it over $700 or were we about $680? I think we were about $690, $680, weren't we? Solana back down to 164. Tron, Cardano back at 70 cents. Again, recency bias. The thing we talk about all the time is people are a little bit bearish now because we've been sideways and we've gone down a little bit. As we say all the time, we go up in a violent motion and then we move sideways for eternity. Okay? Eternity. If you think the Avengers films are long, or the Lord of the films along, you haven't been in Bitcoin and crypto long enough, because Bitcoin can do this between now and October. We could be at 103, 102, 104,000 for the next week. We don't have a great deal of bullish news to talk about, and maybe the news from Powell is going to come out that we're not going to get rate cuts in June, we're not going to get rate cuts in July, and it's going to be after the summer. If that's the case, we might as well pack up, go away, and come back on September the 15th, because there's nothing's going to happen. Right then, gainers and losers, not much gaining. Dexy is up, Lido Dow, nothing. Gold is up. I imagine there's quite a few heavy losers today. Pudgy Penguins has been kicked. The coin I don't mention, PancakeSwap, Arbitrum, Bonk, Optimism, Pith, near double-digit losses today. Radium, Floki, Gala. Again, some of these coins, Radium at $2.73. It's going to be $5 before you can say CZ's a clown. Okay, Optimism, Arbitrum down in the bottom two there. Suffering, I imagine, because some of the news we're going to talk about with Ethereum in a minute, and then there's plenty of others losing. We're not going to go through all the losers, and we do have a lot of X-Files to go through, because I'm trying to catch up on Wednesday and Thursday in today's stream, so there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to get through it as fast as I can. Some things we're going to skim over, other things we're going to go a little bit quicker over. There's just too much to talk about. When I don't do a Wednesday or a Thursday, there's too much to talk about. Bitcoin has had a good run relative to stocks, but every time good news comes out in regards to tariffs, we see stocks outperform Bitcoin. Now, there was a little bit of kidology going on with the tariffs. The judge blocked the tariffs. The tariffs were then reimposed. They're going to have less and less damage done to the markets the more we talk about tariffs. It's diminishing damage, if you like. Unless something serious happens, like there is no trade deal at all with China or India or the EU, unless something like that happens, this is just nothing burgers. And it just causes the market to sway a little bit. It's used as an opportunity to dump the market or pump the market. That's the way you should see it. There's no fundamental issues with these tariffs. They're going to be resolved. One way or another, Trump is going to get his way. Now then, Pakistan is going to create a Bitcoin reserve. We're seeing this everywhere. Ireland are talking about it. There is another European nation talking about it. The UK have come out and said they're not going to have a Bitcoin strategic reserve because it doesn't align with the markets. The UK has already got 61,000 Bitcoin. It doesn't need to do anything. Just hold on to the Bitcoin. So the UK is in a bit of a different situation. China and America obviously own quite a fair old few. There we go. If you are staking your dupe, you will get a claim of WCT tokens. Solo Sky, Tariq, all of the guys out there that have got dupe staked on Jupiter, you're going to get an airdrop from Wallet Connect. There are multiple ways that you're going to get this airdrop. Do I think you should hold this token? Absolutely not. I would sell it at the first opportunity, convert it into Sol. I think there's also going to be an airdrop through Binance, so you'll get a double dip there as well if you've got BNB staked. Again, some of these tokens that are coming out, just sell them. Loud, I'm not even going to talk about it, okay? The initial attention offering that they're launching, if you ever get any of those tokens, sell them. What's going to happen is they're going to make a few people very rich, but the coin, what value has it got? It's a social experiment. If you don't have enough Bitcoin to keep your family going for 6 months, you're being irresponsible. Again, another week, another absolutely crazy take. If you wanted to do this, if you're one of those doomsday preppers, get 6 months supply of cash. Euros, dollars, pounds, whatever it is, get real money and put it under your bed or put it in one of those grab bags that people talk about. Have real cash in your house to pay the bills for the next 6 months if there is a power outage. That's the only bit of advice worth taking out of that. To suggest that you should have Bitcoin to cover your family for 6 months is ridiculous. If there is an internet outage in your country and you've got Bitcoin, it's as useless as having online banking. It's not going to work. Cash is king. Have 6 months supply of money for your groceries in your house if that's the kind of person you are. Nigel Farage is going to speak, or did speak, at the Bitcoin conference. He came out, and what did he say? He said that if he wins the election, that the UK government will create a Bitcoin strategic reserve. I actually think he said crypto strategic reserve. But again, Nigel Farage isn't a threat until he wins 100 seats, and then he is, and then it's too late. I'm not saying he's a threat, by the way. I'm just saying to the other political parties. Now, the SEC's Division of Corporate Finance released a statement that clarifies proof of stake protocol staking activities do not constitute security transactions. Why does this matter? Why does this matter? Because until now, proof of stake possibly could have been considered as dividends. If Ethereum and Solana are considered securities, proof of stake rewards could be classified as dividends. They are not going to approve proof of stake for BlackRock and everybody else until this has been clarified. It's now been clarified. What comes next, ladies and gentlemen? What comes next? Proof of stake for the Ethereum ETF and the Solana ETF. I've already tweeted about this today on my own page, explaining what's going to happen. I think it's down here somewhere. Where is it? Here we go. So this is paving the way for the Ethereum ETF staking and Solana ETF staking. As soon as this happens, I think we're going to go over 3,300 for Ethereum, 3,200, and I think Sol will send. And when I mean send, it will be a case of we're on a countdown now to getting the Solana and XRP ETFs. That's going to happen very, very soon. When that happens, Solana is going to be north of $250, and you'll regret not owning $100 Solana. We told you to buy Solana between $100 and $110. We told you that was the time to buy. You'd already be 50% up. It's going to go over $200 when this news comes out, because they're going to be the next proof of stake coin token with ETF approval. XRP doesn't have staking. So again, keep an eye on that. And I think we've only got a couple more to talk about, one more to talk about, and that is this. Now, some of you might find this funny. Fair play. Some of you might argue that CZ should be allowed to do this because he was sent to prison for 3 months. I would also agree. If that's the way you think. Personally, this isn't the right way to do it. Crypto is still here. Picture of Gary Gensler with a red nose on. Again, I'm not on side with that. I think it's childish. I've been watching the Bitcoin conference all week. Let me go back here for a second. I've been watching the Bitcoin conference all week, and it's become a clown show. There are dancing cows. There are people walking out on stage as if they are the Messiah. There are people who are telling you all kinds of things to do with your Bitcoin. You still have the sailors. You still have some of the OG Bitcoin people there, yes. But it just stinks. This Bitcoin conference has become a circus. And I'm not going to fall out of love with crypto because everybody knew this was going to happen. But stable coins, regulation, adoption is needed. And we need all this kind of stuff to happen. We need the hype. We need the Eric Trumps, the Donald Trump Juniors. We need the Vice President of America turning up. We need all of these people to get adoption and to drive it forward. Yes, but these types of conferences where people walk out on stage like rock stars when all they're doing is borrowing money to buy Bitcoin, it's utter BS. It's BS. It's one of those things where just because you can doesn't mean you should. And you need to stop and think about whether we need to be doing these things rather than just going ahead and doing them. And some of these people that are on stage are not necessarily the best actors in the world. Again, we were celebrating the likes of Sam Bankman-Fried. We were celebrating Alex Mashinsky. We were celebrating a lot of bad actors because we didn't know. Look at Do Kwon as well. I'm not saying they're all criminals on the same scale. What I'm saying is that worshipping false idols is something that I always pay attention to. And some of these people are bad actors. They just haven't been caught. I don't think MicroStrategy will ever go bust. I don't think it will ever get liquidated. I don't think it will tank the market. But I think some of these copycats will. And I think over time, having somebody with, say, 30 or 40,000 Bitcoin that needs to sell isn't going to do us any long-term damage, no. But it will do reputational damage. And in the bear market next year, potentially we've got the potential for a recession next year. Markets are probably going to react really badly. Don't think Bitcoin isn't going to come down. We've handed Bitcoin over to the ETFs. The ETFs will dump. Why? Because Bitcoin is a risk-on asset. So if we head into next year, we head into a recession, one of the first things that will be sold will be Bitcoin, and the price will be depressed, and we could be straight back at $70,000, $80,000. And I'm not saying that to be Mr. Bearish. I am not Kabir in chat. I'm just saying that some of these people could compound what is likely to happen next year, and that is that we get some kind of bear market. Now then, before we have a look at the Bitcoin chart, Jerome Powell says he met Trump privately but promised they did not discuss interest rates. Why would they meet? You're trying to tell me that Chairman Powell and Donald Trump met in a room, and Donald Trump has been talking about nothing but interest rates for the last 2 months, and you're trying to tell me that Jerome Powell and Trump did not discuss interest rates? I call BS, okay? There is a few things I said a few days ago which literally took 24 hours to come true. Donald Trump, World Liberty Financial or Trump Media, whatever it was, buying $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. I said at the time, he's called them out. He said they're bad actors. It's transpired that they're going to buy $2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? I said at the time. Why on earth would these two meet and not discuss interest rates? It's like the elephant in the room. Of course they are. Jerome Powell met with Trump on Thursday at the White House after repeatedly saying he wasn't interested in doing it. He's going to have to go meet the President of America. If the President of America wants to meet you, you turn up. At the President's invitation, he was told to go and meet the President. He met at the White House to discuss economic developments, including growth, employment, and inflation. Chair Powell did not discuss his expectations for monetary policy, except to stress that the path of policy will depend entirely on economic information and what that means for the outlook. Trump pushes, Powell resists. The timing of the meeting matters. Trump's been shouting from his soapbox on Truth Social, demanding rate cuts. Again, this is a battle of wills. I happen to like Chairman Powell. I think he's good for the American economy. I think he's a steady ship, and I think he's done the right thing. And according to the money makers, there will be no rate cut in June. And maybe the tariffs did push up rates a little bit, and they've delayed it. It's now not likely to be till September, and I don't think the markets are going to react too well to that at all. And if we do get a rate cut, fantastic. Good morning, Simon. Happy Friday to you. Now, I'm going to give you the chart that I don't think I've ever brought up on this stream. And this is where I have said Bitcoin was going to go to for 2 years. Now, most of you don't care about these numbers at the top of the page, so I'm going to run through it very quickly. 1.61 is a diminishing return based on the 2021, 2017, and 2013 Bitcoin price. Diminishing returns basically means we go up less over time. So rather than being a 10x, then it becomes a 5x, then it becomes a 3x, then it becomes a 1.5x, whatever the numbers are, it doesn't matter. I did this 2 years ago. But the point of the matter is, I said we'd get to about 111,400. I worked it out today, it's 111,573. I said would be the all-time high of Bitcoin in this cycle. And I said that 2 years ago. And I said a few weeks ago, this line here, which is about 114,800. This is the line I wanted us to break so I would be wrong, okay? Because I don't want to be right. Why would I want $111,000 Bitcoin? I want $150,000 or $180,000 Bitcoin. So this number that I had here, this is based on a spreadsheet that I put together when I was trying to work out where I think Bitcoin would get to. I looked at the low to the highs of each cycle. I've looked from the highs to the highs of each cycle. I worked out the percentage increase. I converted it into a decimal. It comes out about 1.61. I then multiplied that by previous all-time highs. Other people go from bottom to tops to work out X's. I don't care what other people do. It's just a price I had for 2 years in my head. Now, the issue is we've come to 111,700, 600. Now, I'm not saying that this is the top. What I'm saying is that if we follow what happened in each cycle, and if we just look back over, the way that Bitcoin performs, we can go back and look in 2021, we can go back and look at last year. What Bitcoin tends to do is it has a run up like this. The same way in September to October, it has a run up. And then what it does is it pings an all-time high, or it pings its top. And then it kind of chugs sideways, okay? And we see this sideways down momentum. We've seen it last year. We see it every year. Now, again, worst case scenario, 93.4, 93.7, 94. Top of the bull market support band. Okay, if you look at what we've done, we've been in this range that we wobbled in for a while. Then we broke down, the tariffs kicked us in the teeth. We recovered in a beautiful pattern up here, set a new all-time high. Again, I was wrong about that. I said we'd get an all-time high in April. I was wrong. We got it in May. I'm out by a month. Shoot me. Okay, but if we don't get rate cuts till September, if we start to lose momentum and the bears start to take control, then we could come back into this range here. And that range here is 93.4 to 106. It's a big range, don't get me wrong. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I am not saying this is going to happen. But we are now starting to break down. This is starting to come down as well. There's loads of indicators to say that we're going to come down. We don't really have anything, as far as I can see, until July that would give us a bit of a fillip. And that July period would be the China, EU tariffs. We're not going to get rate cuts in June. We might not get them in July, so there's no tariffs. Inflation might start to creep back up because of the tariffs that have been imposed in previous months. So inflation could go back up. No rate cuts. No tariff deals in place. So where are we going to get $125,000 or $150,000 from? Now, again, another top signal is when you start to see people like Bitcoin's going to go to 150, then it's 250, then it's 400,000. Then people are saying we're going to go to 750,000 this cycle. Then you've got somebody saying it's going to infinity. Based on what? Where's the money coming from? The money printer hasn't been turned on. We don't have the money printer. We don't have quantitative easing. We've still got a little bit of QT going on. So we don't have the fresh money coming in. And everybody keeps showing the M2 chart. Now, the M2 chart does show a dip in its own chart. And if you follow what they're saying, we will go back up. So I'm not going to bring it up now. I don't have time. But on the M2 chart, it's like this. And there is a dip. And that dip there coincides with that dip there. So according to that hypothesis, we're going to go a lot higher. Fine. Break 114,000 or 115,000 and I will be more than relieved. And I've got some comments in chat. Let me have a quick look. Come on, Simon. I think we could rally to 112 if you pull up the heat map. There is so much liquidity at 110. I know, but there's also an awful lot of liquidity at 94,000. That's the problem. The M2 chart, everybody is posting. I think the issue with the M2 chart is I blame Raoul Pal for the M2 chart because that's what he was talking about, and he was going off and preaching about it, and then suddenly everybody's posting it up. Now, I'm not saying they're wrong, okay, but there is not one single chart that is going to give you what you need to know. There is not one single chart in crypto that tells you where we're going to go to. And I know KB and myself, we don't disagree, but KB reads the charts incredibly well. I don't. I read the news, and the macro and the charts, they kind of are intertwined. Like, you can't do charts without the macro. You can't look at the macro and then look at the charts. They're symbiotic. And I just think, and again, everything seems to be curving over. That's all I'm saying. And there doesn't seem to be any bullish news out. We've just had the Bitcoin conference. We've had the Vice President of America talking about America needing to buy Bitcoin for a strategic reserve. We've got Pakistan, a nuclear power, talking about a Bitcoin strategic reserve. We've got Michael Saylor printing dollars to buy Bitcoin. We have that other Jack Hoodie boy going out and buying $100 million. Why are we at 105,000? Why are we here when everybody is telling you that we're all going to go and buy all the Bitcoins are going to be bought? We're going to own all the cryptos. We're going to own all the Bitcoin. So why are we at 105,000? Because the macro is not matching what they're saying. The dollar, the S&P, the money supply, inflation, interest rates, quantitative easing, it all affects the dollar. We can't just sit here with the M2 money supply and say it's going to do that, therefore Bitcoin's going to do that. I mean, come on. If that was the case, why would we do anything other than look at the M2 money supply? If you actually take into account the money supply and go back and look at the S&P over the last 20 years, the S&P hasn't performed. The only reason the S&P has performed in the last 20 years is because there's more money today than there was 20 years ago. The S&P has really done nothing apart from tech stocks, of course. Anyway, could see a swing up, take out the liquidity double top, then fall off. It could. Again, you could be right. This could be a fake out, and we could come down here, take out all the liquidity down here, then go all the way back up, take out all the liquidity, come here, and then we could do that. Absolutely. James the Whale got taken out for $100 million, what, less than 24 hours ago? Maybe 12 hours ago. They went after him. He went long, they pushed the price down. He went short, they pushed the price up. They went after him. But again, he didn't stay by, he didn't follow the rules. I'm not a trader. If you're a trader, you have to be disciplined. He showed no discipline in what he did. JP Morgan says Ethereum's recent upgrades haven't meaningfully boosted activity. Again, let me rephrase this. JP Morgan does not know what it is talking about. These upgrades are not for now. They are for the future. If you are going to do what Ethereum is going to be able to do in the next 2 years, the fee structure of Ethereum, the way Ethereum works, the Petra upgrade and everything that's gone on in the background has to prepare Ethereum for what is coming next. And that is BlackRock. That is probably Vanguard as well, probably VanEck, all the big players, okay? Now, of course, they're not going to do that. It's a little bit like if you know that 62 tower blocks are going to be built in a field and you decide you're going to open a restaurant on the side of the road, a Michelin-starred restaurant on the side of the road, because these are going to be very rich apartments, you build that restaurant there, and guess what? The apartments aren't built yet. So the press are going to make, look at Mike. He's built his Michelin-star restaurant in the middle of a field. What an idiot. 18 months later, the 60 tower blocks are now full of people, 6,000 people in there. You've got queues down the street for your restaurant. It's about timing. There's no point in Ethereum building upgrades 6 months after the upgrades are needed. Okay? It's required. They've already decided they're building on Ethereum. It's already going to happen. So Ethereum, I am sure, as I am sitting here, that BlackRock and the men in suits have sat down with the Ethereum Foundation and said, listen, we're going to build stock exchanges. We're going to build this, we're going to build that, but we're going to build it on Ethereum because you guys never go down and you're secure. And we've already got all of your Ethereum anyway in our ETFs. So we're going to build on you and you're going to do this for us. I'm sure there's been a conversation along the lines there. Now, the upgrade has happened. There's future upgrades going to happen. There's a big thing about, there was a big conversation about, Ethereum fees going to zero and people aren't going to stake their Ethereum. It's not going to be a charity, all that kind of nonsense. Listen, there's always going to be proof of stake rewards. Ethereum is not going to go anywhere. If Ethereum didn't have the potential that it's got, I would not be so bullish on it. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to $50,000 either. I'm saying we should be looking at $5,000 to $8,000 to $10,000, depending on what proof of stake does to the ETFs, depending on when BlackRock opens its business. You've got Ondo over there. Ondo's going to move some of its stuff onto Solana. You're going to have a great big pie, and Ethereum's going to have a piece of it. Now then, poor old Charles has been kicked from pillar to post. Now, I think this is you just check the heat map, 106 to 107. Again, I don't think we're going to go anywhere. As long as we hold 100,000, I said a few weeks ago, as long as we stay above $103,000, I am more than happy. $103,000, I think I said maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, keep above $103,000, I will be happy. Okay, we can woggle around as much as we want. Just let me check something for a second. Just want to make sure that the stream is running. Yes, we are. Perfect. Stream is running. Happy days. There we go. Right. Keep above 103,000. Psychologically, 100,000 is massively important to us. Again, we could break it. We're probably going to break it. If we get a 30% correction, the next one is likely to take us down to 90s. So what would that be? Maybe we come down from 125, 120 down towards 90, 95, something like that, maybe. But anyway, Hoskinson slams Ada slander campaign amid resurfaced Treasury allegations. Again, the number of people, including people I know. What I'd like to say to you, I'm just going to put this on camera, okay? If I sat here and said Charles eats cats, Charles is a terrible man, he eats cats, a proportion of you will believe me and go out and say, oh my God, Charles eats cats. That's terrible. And then eventually, over time, Charles eating cats becomes a thing on X. And then Charles has to defend himself. I don't eat cats. I don't like cats. Cats are my friend. Okay? Slander campaigns happen against many people. They don't just happen against Charles. They go after everybody. Candice Owens, slander campaign against her. Trump, of course, had his slander campaign. CZ had a slander campaign against CZ. The people that don't get the slander campaigns, exactly, Simon's actually seen Charles eat a cat. Okay, that's more proof. I tell you who you don't see a slander campaign against. Alex Mashinsky, who's serving time for fraud. Sam Bankman-Fried. Nope, because he was the person carrying out the slander campaigns against CZ. So what you tend to find is the bad actors don't have slander campaigns against them. Now, why would they go after Charles? And who would go after Charles? That would be the question that you should ask yourself. We call it, well, there's a couple of different types of humor. There's gallows humor. I love gallows humor, by the way, but I get in trouble for it all the time. And I can't say anything I would say because I'll probably get kicked off for saying it. But the point of the matter is, the people that get slandered, the CZs of this world, the Charleses of this world, they nearly always end up being the good guy. So why do you listen to the crap that people sprout on X? And what annoys me is this rivalry, the clan rivalry between Solana and Cardano and Ethereum, and then other chains want to get involved. And it's like, if somebody says something against you or against somebody, you should find out if it's true, but you don't, because you are being told, and again, I'm not getting political, people tell you Putin is bad, or people will tell you that, I don't know, think of somebody else, Andrew Tate is bad. They'll tell you that. And then if you go away and you read about that person, and then you decide that person is bad, then it's bad. There was a very good video, and I'm gone off on a sidetrack, I know. There's a very good video about J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling, school teacher said to the class, what do you think of J.K. Rowling? Oh, she's phobic against this, phobic against that. Why? Oh, because she said this, she said that. Well, no. Can you prove that she said that? Well, no, I can't. Somebody said that she said that. And there we go again. He said, she said. I don't believe for 1 second, and I've read about it, by the way, that what has actually happened here, am I still on screen here? There we go. I don't believe for 1 second that what Charles has said here is bad. What has happened is that this smear campaign is a pile-on. It was started by somebody from the Ethereum chain, and now everybody is piling on board. And it's to do with this. Allegations that $600 million in ADA has been manhandled. Okay. Now, this is not how it appears. He does not have $600 million worth of ADA. What Charles has said is that an independent audit was underway to prove his innocence. Now, what is quite annoying about stories like this is that in 6 months' time, in 12 months' time, when Charles is proven innocent, which I hope he is, but when Charles is proven innocent, the news coverage will say Charles Hoskinson, who last year was involved in a lot of controversy with regards to him misappropriating $600 million worth of ADA. So it's not forgotten. Even though it's false, more than likely, it's not forgotten. And that goes for everybody. You know, you can look at other people. What's that guy called with the beard and the long hair? Russell Brand. Accusations, documentaries made about it. Nothing ever happened. Went away. Now it's come back again. Do we believe that they're true or not? No, but it needs to go to a court of law either way. But the majority of people will understand why he's got a tarnished name, because his name has been tarnished. I don't know if he's innocent. I don't know if he's guilty, but I don't see why we should tarnish somebody's name until the courts prove otherwise. Charles, if he's proved innocent, it should be the last time he's ever mentioned in regards of this $600 million worth of ADA, but it won't. It will stick. It's the way these people work. Litecoin enters smart contract era with new layer 2 chain. Now this article goes out to our Litecoin Maxi in chat, who probably hasn't turned up yet, and that is, of course, our good friend Tariq. Tariq is our Litecoin Maxi. I think everybody should know somebody who is a Litecoin Maxi. At the same time the Bitcoin conference was going on in America, the Litecoin conference was going on somewhere else, Seattle probably, where they eat lots of shellfish, deep fried. They're all over there having a good old chat about Litecoin. Now, Luna Digital Assets has launched LitVM, nice name, the first zero-knowledge layer 2 for Litecoin, signaling a shift towards on-chain programmability and real-world asset integration for the decade-old cryptocurrency. The layer 2 was announced at the Litecoin Summit as being built using Bitcoin OS and Polygon CDK. Now, don't forget, Litecoin is a fork of Bitcoin. Litecoin has its own halving. It's still, as far as I'm aware, proof of work. I think it's the third biggest proof of work now. Bitcoin, Doge, Litecoin, maybe Casper, something like that. Known as a lightweight peer-to-peer alternative to Bitcoin, and it may be entering a new development phase. Now, much as I mock Litecoin, there is no reason for a chain not to get reinvigorated and go in a new direction. Perfect example is Phantom. A year and a half ago, Phantom was dead. $60,000 a month in fees generated on the blockchain. It was pretty much a zombie chain. Cronji came along, said this before, probably 10 times now, reinvigorated Phantom, turned it into Sonic, changed the mechanism round, so a percentage of the fees from the blockchain go to the apps, go to the dApps running on that blockchain. I don't think Sonic should be seen in the same light as something like Sei, for example, or Celestia, which was basically a token farming period of time. I think Sonic is probably going to be the real deal. Now, Litecoin could very well do a 180 and become an incredibly valuable chain. I do wholeheartedly believe that. I think even Charlie Lee spoke at the Litecoin conference this year. There we go. This layer 2 pushes Litecoin into the smart contract era while preserving the principles. Now again, I'm not a massive fan of Litecoin. I used to mine Litecoin, and I did actually mine a block. 25 Litecoin I got, however many years ago that was, a long time ago. I actually mined a block of Litecoin. I had one of the Antminer 501s or 503s, what was it called, and I did mine it, yes. And then I immediately sold it to Bitcoin. That's a different story. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a good move for Litecoin. And again, give it 6 months. Let's see what impact this has on Litecoin. I think it's positive for Litecoin. Again, I'm not going to knock a chain that's been around for so long. It's got a lot of people supporting it. It's still hanging around. Lots of coins from 2021 have now gone. Litecoin, if anything, has longevity. Let's have a look now. Of course I hold gains. You're most welcome. I bought Moonpig. And the reason I bought Moonpig recently is because they're a big UK card company, and it's got nothing to do with the coin. I like the coin. So I bought that. Do I hold any of the meme coins? Not really, no. I don't think I do. Last coin I bought was COM, which is Compute 3 AI, which is a video I made 3 or 4 days ago, and I'll bring that up in a little bit. Tetherback 21 Capital raises more cash for Bitcoin treasuries. Now, I made a video. I'm going to show you something because there is actually a tie-in here. If any of you know about Cantor Fitzgerald, I don't think you know enough about Cantor Fitzgerald. So I made a video, and I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway, so bear with me. We're going to go through this article in a second. And the reason I want to talk about this is that there's a lot of very big fish swimming around with a lot of not necessarily biggest players. Now, Compute 3 AI, I made the video about that. This one here is the video. Wall Street meets DeFi, Cantor Fitzgerald's $2 billion deal with Maple. Now, Maple Finance, of course, we're partnered with. One of our sponsors of the channel. They've just broken $2 billion in TVL. They've signed another $2 billion deal with Cantor Fitzgerald. The reason I think you should watch that video is I talk about the history of Cantor Fitzgerald, and that's why this is important. Cantor Fitzgerald's CEO is Luznik, who is now one of Trump's cabinet in the administration. Luznik's son, Scott, I think he's called, is in charge of Cantor Fitzgerald. I wish the camera would just look at me and stop changing direction. Now, Cantor Fitzgerald is bringing Bitcoin loans and Bitcoin over collateralized lending mechanisms to Wall Street using Maple Finance. Cantor Fitzgerald also owns 10% of Tether, or 5%. I think it's 10% of Tether. And Tether print money. They make about $6 billion a year. And they buy Bitcoin. They've got 100,000 Bitcoin. They've got about 50,000 tons of gold. They print money. Stable coins are the biggest revenue generating business in crypto right now. And when I mean revenue generating, I mean they're physically making money right this minute, and lots of it. So Cantor Fitzgerald are about to do a Bitcoin lending platform with Maple Finance. Why? Because Michael Saylor is going to own that industry unless somebody goes after him. Cantor Fitzgerald are doing that. They've also tied up Tether. They're very, very tied into Tether. In fact, they got on stage yesterday, Cantor Fitzgerald, and I think, was it Paolo Ardiano, whatever he's called, from Tether, were on stage yesterday. And again, there are a few people that really are working behind the scenes that are going to become massive. The major names involved with this: Tether, SoftBank, Cantor Fitzgerald. Cantor Fitzgerald is a name you need to go and look up. Or don't bother, go and watch my video. Okay? This is a great deal. We talked about treasuries a few days ago. I explained what treasuries were and how people are going to use them. This is massive. I would keep an eye on that, most certainly. Now, talking of treasuries, I said to you the other day, we want to know where Saylor's got his dosh, don't we? We want to know where Michael Saylor is keeping his money. Good morning, Tariq. You've literally just missed my Litecoin Layer 2 article. This is Arkham, and they have uncovered, I think this is about 93% or 92% of Michael Saylor's Bitcoin holdings. They have tracked it down. There we go. All the transactions you'd ever want to know. So when Michael Saylor says on stage that we don't want to tell anybody where our Bitcoin is because it's bad and we don't want people to know and we're going to keep it safe, the one thing to bear in mind with crypto is you can't really hide 500,000 Bitcoin when the supply in circulation is 19 million. All the wallets are public. All the wallets can be checked. And Arkham have found it. They found the value. They've got it on here. So Arkham, you go to X, type in Arkham strategy portfolio. If anybody really cares, I can drop it into Telegram as well. But just to say, if anybody ever tells you, I'm not going to tell you where my Bitcoin is, and they have a lot of Bitcoin, people like Arkham Invest can scan through, look for transactions that tie in with Coinbase, tie in with the timings of Michael Saylor's purchases of Bitcoin. It's not too hard to do. Those guys have done it. Saylor's been ousted. We all know it's with Coinbase, because I think at the minute they're the only authorized custodian, I believe. Now then, we talked about Circle the other day being bought by Ripple. We talked about them being bought by, who was the one? It was Ripple or somebody else. I can't remember who the person was now. But they're going to IPO. So USDC, which is the smaller of the two, I think they've got about $60 billion of Circle USDC. That makes them about $3 billion a year. The IPO is going to value them at about $5 billion a year. This is not financial advice, but I will probably look to buy some shares in Circle at some point. Maybe not on day one, maybe not on launch day, but this is a different model to investing in Bitcoin, investing in Ethereum. Bitcoin and Ethereum can go up 30-40%. Circle buys treasuries, the American government, props up the American economy by doing that and earns 4 or 5% on those bonds that they have with the American government and treasuries and gilts and whatever it might be. Now, if you've got $10 billion a year, or sorry, if you've got $10 billion, you'll be making $400 million, $500 million a year off that 10 billion. If you've got 100 billion, you're making $4 or $5 billion a year. It's a lot of money. It's an awful lot of money. You can do an awful lot with that. You can go and buy companies out. You can go and do an awful lot. So I think Ripple, were trying to buy them out before the IPO. The IPO is going to happen. They're going to be valued at 5.65 billion. Now, unlike what I would say is, unlike Coinbase, I think the Coinbase valuation is based on its trading volume, share of market, value of cryptocurrency. Unless you start to see massive drawdowns of USDC, I don't see USDC and Circle, I don't see the token being as volatile, because I still think they're going to be making $250 million a month. If they go from $60 to $120 billion, which they're likely to do, they're going to go from making $3 to $6 billion a year. Well, that makes a $5.65 billion valuation really, really low. Now, if this launches at $25 and it goes to $100, I'm not going to buy it, clearly. But if it launches at $23, $24, $25 and then drops to $15 or $16, then I'll buy it. I'm not going to come out the blocks and buy this coin because it's not financial advice. I'm just talking my head through what I would do with it. But also Tether and Circle are going to get a lot more, what's the word? Competition in the future as well. So maybe take that into account. But I think it's a money-making business, and I don't see why you wouldn't want to have a slice of that pie. Now, we have got on to the last article of the day. Now, I am trying to get through this by 12-ish. Tariq, no issue, hear it on playback. Also, continue to tell us about it, about how good that you are. Yes. I think ADA, Kronos, Pol, XRP, Beam, VeChain. Yeah, Pol's the absolute... Pol for me, I've got a portfolio. I think we've shown it you before. It's the $15,000 portfolio. And the plan was we're going to get the $15,000 portfolio to $1 million in probably 2 or 3 bull runs, not in one bull run. And Pol is just the worst. And the thing is, the ag layer is incredible. And I've no idea why it's so bad. Yeah, everyone's got massive bags of that. Right now, Quant stalls at $123. QNT traders, watch out for this warning ahead. The Quant price reaches the key resistance level. $3 million worth of asset inflows into exchanges indicate a potential correction ahead. Again, when you see Bitcoin, Ethereum leaving exchanges, it's a sign that the price is probably going to go up or not go down. When you see Bitcoin, Ethereum, Quant, XRP being moved onto Binance, it's a sign that they're going to sell it. The same way that when you see $1 billion worth of Tether or Circle being minted, you know there's $1 billion worth of buying coming to crypto. It's just a way of checking it. So Quant could continue. If it breaks 123, Quant could reach 164, 700 and 1500. Well, what expert is predicting that? Who said that? Quant's at 117. So who said this? Here we go. One expert, what's he called? Described Quant as unstoppable, citing strong performance and significant future growth. Again, I don't know whether I agree with that at all. I don't see it going to $1,500. Quant is... I made a video about it years ago, and it's outstanding. It's an incredible project. The price does not reflect the project. It's like having a great squad, a great team, like Manchester City. Quant is very much like Manchester City. the constituent parts of Quant are brilliant, but the price does not reflect it. And Quant being over $100 is a miracle, because I've been looking at Quant $80, $90. It's a great project. Okay, bit of a background to what it does. It's a little bit like a mesh that connects all of the different on-ramps in payments. So the banking system, XRP, cross-border payments, payment providers, MasterCard, Visa, everybody is involved with Quant. Now, this is what happened with Quant. Back in 2021 was this, it got up to $400. We've gone nowhere near it since. Lots of people out there that hold Crow think that Crow is on its own, okay? Why doesn't the price of Quant go up? Not enough people buy it, and too many people sell it. Why doesn't the price of Crow go up? Not enough people buy it. It is not rocket science. What should we call it? Quant Project Map Crypto. Now, I'm not going to bring this up on full screen. This isn't going to be a bull post on Quant. I don't hold any of it, but also I put it in the same bag as Polygon. There's no reason this token should be so low. I think this is the graphic that I looked at 2 years ago when I looked at Quant. See if I can bring it up. And I'm just going to mention some names to you. And again, we talked about Litecoin for Tariq. This is more for Packer Salad, I think. Packer Salad is a holder of Quant. He said, should he buy? Just open the image. There we go. Okay, bring up the image, bring up the image, bring up the image. Right, now bear with me. Number one, I am as blind as a bat. And number two, this is a massive image. Okay, so this is Quant. Connect any network to any network at scale without overhead or limits. Enterprise and institutional grade multi-chain oracles. Now, on the left, you will see a list of recognizable features there. Gmail, Pinterest, social media platforms. Down here, you've got payment IDs, you've got Venmo, you've got Google Pay, Apple Pay, Amazon, you've got Sage, you've got the blockchains. It's connected up to Cardano, it's connected up to XRP, it's connected up to Avalanche. Over here, enterprise blockchains. Over here, the banking APIs, Santander, Deutsche Bank. And then on the other side, you've got Internet of Things, you've got Intel, Samsung, Microsoft. Yeah, I mean, and it works. And it has been working for a very long time. But it doesn't get anywhere near the attention that you would see with maybe XRP or any of the other payment-related projects. So I think it's hard done by. That's what I would like to say. I think it's hard done by. Now, LCA, Scar, 20 million raised in pre-sale. I wouldn't go near anything in a pre-sale. Right, before we go, because it's 11:58, I want to very quickly try to think of how to show it you, actually. Let me show you this. We are going to do a quiz night. Okay. Now, I'm just going to bring you up to show you the quiz night. Last Wednesday, we did Mew, and we had a quiz at the end. We've done, what was the other one we did? Wolf Swap, quiz at the end. We haven't done a quiz night for Maple because I don't really think the Maple product goes with quiz nights. But I have made some UIs for the quiz nights. And I'm just going to give you a sneak peek because being English, we're going to set the quiz night in a pub. And don't worry, they sell lemonade, they sell alcohol-free wine, alcohol-free gin nowadays, believe it or not. And we're going to do the quiz night. I think we're going to do it next Wednesday. And we're going to try and make it a bit trickier because one of the things we do There we go. Right, if I open that image, if I open that, can I make that full screen? There we go. That's good enough, I think. So this is what we're going to be doing. So next Wednesday, we are going to do the Crypto Warehouse quiz night. Setting a pub, the Oracle and myself, we're going to ask you a load of questions about cryptocurrencies. And to make it easier, we're probably just going to do logos. So it'll be like the Bitcoin logo, the Ethereum logo, the Litecoin logo, Quant, whatever it might be. We're going to do a quiz night. It's not attached to a project, and we're probably going to give away some crypto, although I don't know how we're going to pay for it, but we'll give it away anyway. So if you want to play the quiz night, it will be next Wednesday. We've got crisps, we've got a jukebox, we've got a pint, and we've got some alcohol-free wine. So that is probably going to be next Wednesday. So I haven't set it up yet, but that's what's coming next. And as you're probably aware, we try and do way too many things than we can on this channel. But if you don't try different things, then you never know if they're going to work. So we're just going to do a quiz night. And then hopefully, if some of you turn up, you will win. I don't know what we're going to give away, but we're going to give something away. Now, let me very quickly go over here. Okay, so I am going to sign off because I've got a meeting in about 15 minutes. So I'm going to go. Your homework for the weekend is to go and research crypto logos. That includes UKB. Okay, I want you to go and look at. We're going to make it easy. We're only going to use coins in the top 200. I'm not going to go and find a coin ranked 10,000 that doesn't exist anymore and ask you about that. We might have the Maple logo in there. We might have the WolfSwap logo in there. We might even have the Gains logo in there. Who knows? But we're not going to trick you. It's not going to be about tricking people. And there's going to be about 30 questions. So the entire thing should last under an hour. And we'll give away some crypto. Can't say fairer than that. Anyway, thank you, Danny, KB, Simon, Tariq. Who else has been in here that we've said to do? Oh, Manjeet has been in here as well. Charles, thank you all for coming. Have a great weekend. Hope you all have a good one. Let's hope we can hold on to what we've got in the world of Bono. And let's hope we can have a good weekend. And let's hopefully on Monday, we're still over 103,000. That's my hope. Anyway, take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Ciao.